speaker of today. He's Nehru Institute of Information Technology and Management as principal with lots of achievement and activities in both admin and teaching activities. She's in
Today, we are organizing this national webinar with the eminent scholars Jasdeep Kaur Dhamiji and Dr. Joseph Sir. Friends, as you all know that the trade, commerce and businesses are going to face a big challenge. They are facing a big challenge today. The sudden emergence of COVID-19 has left our businesses into dilemma. This unforeseen contingency made every entrepreneur alert, and they have to be on their toes to run their businesses. They have to plan to manage and operate their businesses. And it has become a big challenge before them. See, to run their financial wheels, and during this lockdown period, they have very limited resources. Similarly, to manage, to retain the human resources with them, all these are the big challenges. And again, the biggest challenges before the businesses which are shut down. Before them also, it is going to be a big problem. It is a big problem. They have to evaluate the impact on the, like new sales after the lockdown is over. And during the lockdown period, of course, like since they are shut down, so they have to make the future plans. Then regarding the collections of the balances, then the credit cycles, cash flows, and many other financial metrics also, they will have to, like look upon into, and they will have to prepare their policies. They have to plan their policies, I must say. Other challenges will be managing employees, staying connected with them. This is a challenge for corporates as well as the small businesses which are shut down. So today's session on the topic emerging trends in management, organized by IJASRW and KG Mittal College, is going to be a big brainstorming session with our eminent scholars, Dr. Jasdeep Kaur Dhami Madam and Dr. Moses Denial. So, friends, I hope we all will enjoy this session, and like we will debate on this, and like definitely, we will find out the ways and means wherein we can suggest measures, and measures to prepare the policies and plans to the like entrepreneurs. And I hope, Miss, I'm very much sure that this is going to be a very good session. And over to Jasdeep Kaur Dhami Madam. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So first, I would like to thank Dr. Suhasini ma'am from KG Mittal College of Commerce and Arts, Mumbai. And secondly, I would like to thank Madam Priyanka from the journal that she organized this kind of a webinar for all of us. I think this we already discussed before the session that we are considering this situation as a blessing in disguise, because earlier it was very difficult for us to move from one place to another place. So this is a better platform for all of us to discuss the certain issues that Madam already discussed about. So I just want to start my session, and right now I'm going to upload my file that is the today's presentation, so that we can discuss certain issues. First of all, I just want to make one thing more clear, that today is the Mother's Day. And first of all, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I think before starting with the presentation, we would like to say that the mother is the best manager. And the topics which I would like to cover today is like the management, the global management, the total quality management, and the risk management and the crisis management. I think the mother is the best example, and she is the one who will do all the things. Like in the period of COVID-19, she's the best manager. She know how to manage the things, because the finances, because of the quality, that is the total quality management, the risk analysis, that how we should consume the vegetables and all the things, and then the crisis management, with the limited resources, if the situation arises, how we can manage. So this is all brief about my today's presentation. So I would like to start, because the first part is with me and the second part is with Dr. Daniel. So Dr. Daniel will explain the rest of the presentation. So I will start with mine. So basically, I want to give you a brief introduction about my group also. I belong to the Punjab and the Jalandhar city. And I'm the professor and the director of City Group of Institutions. And we have 17 institutions, 2 schools, and one university at Ludhiana. And we are also very, I belong to a very large group. And I also want to thank my group, that they provided us the platform to deal with all the kind of situations. So right now, the first the thing, that is management. We could say that the success of an enterprise generally depends upon how much more on the administrative ability of its leaders than their technical ability. Henry Field. So management is about the administration. Like I already discussed, that the mother is a good administrator. I just want to brief certain things, certain examples which we are using daily in our daily life. So next point is management is a social science. Somebody say this is art also. We are saying this social science. Why we are saying this is a social science? Because in the science, everything is there. Like H2O, physical science. H2O, two hydrogen, one oxygen will create water. But in our case, we are dealing with the social sciences. We have the cause and effect relationships also there, like the price and demand, income and the consumption. But these are bases on the certain assumptions. Like in the case of the law of demand, the assumptions are there. If the price remains same, if the other factors remain same, price increase, demand decrease, and the vice versa. So that is why these are called the social sciences. And one more thing important for all of us to learn about this are disciplines, that we are based, that is, everything is based on the psychology. If one thing is good for us, maybe not a good for the other people. Like we are doing dealing with the consumer behaviors, we are the human behavior in the case of employees, in the case of human resource, in the case of consumers, we have a different mindset. That is why our discipline is known as a social science, because we have the cause and effect relationships exist, but these are based on the certain assumptions, because the psychology of the human being is involved. So we can say that the management is the direction and the control of strategies, teams, resources, processes, and projects. We are all aware about these facts. Now, we all know the functions of management. We have to plan, organize, direct, and control. That is all about the management. Now, there are different kind of management styles are there. One is the traditional management, in which the hierarchy, low level, middle level, and the higher level. Then there's a team management. Team management arrangement, the manager is guiding. In that case, the manager is guiding. He's giving the advice that this is the thing, we can proceed like this. He doesn't dictate the policy to the entire team. Then the servant management, with this approach, the manager helps supply resources the employees need to meet company goals. In servant leadership, the organization recognizes employees as experts in their field and work to help them more efficiently. So there are different kinds of the management styles. Earlier, we used to learn that there is only one top level, middle level, the higher level. Like I'm also a manager, I deal with the certain various kind of employees. This is my ability that I should recognize them. That one person is, if is good in one thing, he might not be good in other thing. So being a manager, like nowadays, the situations are very different, and we are all discussing about the new normal. So, being a manager, we have to think differently that what is the right thing for our employees, for our customers. So, we will discuss this thing in detail. Why there is a need of management? Management is needed in order to coordinate the activities of business and make sure all employees are working together. So, this is the main aim. We have to work accordingly. So we all know that the current scenario that we all are facing the problem, like so Asmi ma'am already discussed that although we are entrepreneur, we are employees, we are teachers, we are the industrialists, or any kind of, I mean, either the firm is at a high level or at a low level, with a large investment or small investment, all are facing a similar kind of problems. So lockdown. Now the another situation is we are dealing with the lockdown, and we are in the third phase of the lockdown. And now, before going further, I want to explain that there is always a trade-off, because when the lockdown started at that time, the priority was the health. That was the priority. If the government's trying to maintain something, there is always a trade-off. Once they want to maintain the health, but that is, the health is most important part of all of us. Life is at the top priority. But nowadays we are facing that like the migration is there, the laborers are migrated from their working place to their native places because they want to survive. And because everything is in the lockdown, the industries are not working, farms are not working. But now the situations are going to change. Just right now I got a news that I belong to the Jalandhar, and there's a sports industry. Now the sports industry just receiving the orders from the foreign countries, so that will be a good new signals for us. So the better thing is, like a manager, we have to deal with the situation and we have to plan accordingly. That means I just have read the article where they mentioned that they were surviving against the odds become the new norm. The overall economic impact of outbreak will be overshadow the operations for years to come. Like there was a recession in the we have all heard about in 1929 and 30s. There was a great depression in 15. And I just saw the pictures that the huge rows were there outside to take a piece of bread. I think the similar kind of situation we are witnessing nowadays. We are seeing so many migrants. They are moving towards their native places. They don't have any communication sources, but even then they are moving. So these are the situations. So my suggestion is to all of you: you must watch one movie, that is the Modern Times by the Charlie Chaplin in 1936. So that is also a depiction of that kind of era. And now, after that, the lockdown, we all faced a certain kind of recession. I will discuss this thing in my next slides. So, one next topic I would like to discuss, that is the global management. So, we all know that international and global management is concerned with the techniques and practices that are involved in directing and controlling international organizations. The, Thus, it covers all the issues that arise as a consequence of international and global strategies. So, you all know that the China, we are already discussing about the China. There are certain names available that China ने सब कुछ वैसा बनाया, but एक वायरस असली बना दिया. I'm just discussing this thing. We don't have any fact and figures for this. But there are certain articles, and they are claiming that. But the Chinese, we know that the international business, that is in the majority nations, if we are talking about the case of electronics, we are taking the case of textiles. The China, we find if we are buying something from the America also, there we find made in China. If I'm buying something from Jalandhar also, that also find I find that that is made in China. We find the mobiles made in China. That means where the China is on the top, because they studied each and everything. They studied our society. They studied our culture. They studied our religion. They know that the Indians are after price. They are not after quality. And sometimes that is they are understanding our psychology. They know that we have the different festivals, like we have Christmas, we have the Eid, we have the Diwali, we have the Dussehra, and we have the Holi, and they are providing us with the material like anything we can find, anything related we from made in China. So the China is on the top and was on the top because of all such kind of a things. But nowadays we are also witnessing that the Chinese economy also facing certain problems. Why? Because of the emergence of the virus. And we all know the virus emerged from the Wuhan. And our governments, they also doing their level best when they recognize that virus is coming from that place. Even our government also banned several exports that were doing by the China for us. That the government also banned. In the case of Malaysia, also the government also banned certain kind of their exports they are exporting to India. So the global management scenario is after the COVID is also totally different. There is a difference in the sales, the marketing, the hiring, the finance practices. Like right now, I'm just studying that the Trump government, they are trying to ban the certain visas that are for the engineer H-1B visas, and they are mentioning their certain senators. They are forcing the government that they should ban the engineers and open the visas for the health professionals, because now the health is on the top priority. So there are certain major things that are emerging the markets in the global market. We know the markets are emerging growly, like all the countries they targeted India as a major market because we are the highest in the population after the China, and we will soon become the at the top as far as the population is concerned. And every company, every market in the world, they know that the in demand for the various product is very high as far as India is concerned. And when they launch some product in India, the first, like if I'm talking about the Tresemme, the case of Tresemme is there. When the shampoo was launched, they launched in the bottles. When then after soon they realized that the majority of the population they can't afford at that price. So now they are also trying to sell their shampoo in the sachets. So there are certain examples that are there that we can understand that they basically understanding the psychology, the culture, the society, the religion, everything like the McDonald's, they are aware about the fact that in India, we follow the religion in our places. Like if I'm talking about the case of Vaishnavata, the supply of non-veg burger is not there. If I'm talking about the case of Harmandir Sahib, that is in the Amritsar, in that region also, the supply of non-veg burger is not there. So they analyze the markets, the MNCs, they analyze their consumers very well. Now after COVID also, like yesterday only, I was seeing a advertisement by the Domino's. They are showing that they use the hand sanitizers, they use the proper hygiene is there, they properly sanitize everything. Now we will see a different kind of a scenario after the COVID also, because now we all know that this is also hampering the restaurant and the different kind of businesses. So we should be ready. So they know that the industry leaders are relying more on the data analytics. We all know that nowadays you all witness that there are certain seminars that are also conducted on the COVID data analysis. Data analysis, how we can analyze. You are also witnessing various kind of reports that on the may the this country may lower down the cases. Everything is based on the predictions, the data available, and we can predict that what is the scenario in the future. So consumers have instant access to more product information. Rapid innovation continues, like we have witnessed that if there is iPhone for next we find a different kind of a model. With every other day we find a change in the technology. So these are the things. So we already discussed the impacts of COVID-19. So outbreak that detected in the China has infected people in 185 countries, and its spread has left the business around the world counting the costs. So we already know this is the just overview that in case of more than 30 million people in the US have filed for unemployment benefit. In the last 6 weeks, oil prices, we all know, because everything is related with the demand and supply. There's no demand right now because we all know that a similar kind of situation all over the world, and this is also impact of COVID. Nobody have thought about this, that this would happen with us. So oil prices turned negative for the first time. Many advanced economies are expected to enter recession. I already discussed about the recession. Recession, there was a recession. Great after recession, there is a depression. In the 1929 30s, there was a Great Depression, and the economies are going to face similar kind of situation because if we withdraw 10 rupees from the economy, that will lead to the loss of 100 or 1,000 rupees. We all know because if there is no consumption, there is no further demand. If there is no further demand, there is no production. If there is no production, there is no employment. If there is no employment, there is no generation of income. And there is no generation of income further leads to decrease in the demand and the consumption, and the process continues. That is why nowadays governments are thinking to open up in the different stages. Those are essential, like they are thinking that to open up the industries with the proper precautionary measures. All the things that are required nowadays, our governments are doing at their best. But again, there is a trade off. So one thing we witnessed, like today only, we are on all on the webinar. That is also because of the COVID. Otherwise, we have not thinking about such kind. And in this case, the Zoom video call more popular. But earlier we have certain articles on this also that they may the theft of the losing of the data. They are selling the data. There are certain kind of issues that is with the Zoom also. And more than 100 countries have travel restrictions because of the coronavirus. We all know about this fact. Then this is the positive side that strict lockdown measures clear Indian skies because of the less pollution, less carbon dioxide emission in the atmosphere. We all know that there are Kyoto protocol that are describing that that a country can emit the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but now by default it is automatically reduced. So these are the positive impacts of we can say the COVID. And this is the case of Chinese industrial production fell further in the March. When this is the first time that their production fell also. The car sales in the China have fallen sharply. And we are also witnessing similar kind of situation in India also. Other impacts. Now, one major impact I will want to discuss because as a human resource, as organizations we are facing. This may lead to the gig economy, that in which the companies trying to shift from the permanent employment towards the more contractual workers. That kind of a situation which may be arised. So this is also a very kind of a situation. I have read this from one particular article. They mentioned that though these are clear early days, some strong winds of change are visible that could reshape the way businesses are managed. The most obvious will be firms allowing, even encouraging staffers to work from home. We already are doing that kind of a situation. And but COVID-19 may also go on the impact of leadership style in the new era, how supply chains are organized, and even the way companies are structured. They will become more fluid, more flexible, and more agile. Here's how the current ways of doing business. So this is the situation. So this is all about the global management. I have just taken the brief of the entire thing. I'm trying to communicate in a simple and very easy language so that we can easily understand. Now the thing is the total quality management. Now total quality management is an enhancement to the traditional way of doing business. It is a proven technique to guarantee survival in the world class competition. Now, the quality matters. We all know. We have heard that the ISO certifications are there. That we have whenever we see that product, we just nowadays focus on the quality of the product, packaging of the product, what kind of the shape of the product is, like the bingos they mention bingo tede mede, and there are the different kind of techniques they we are using, the companies are using to satisfy their customers. Now the quality is the most priority, but after COVID we will see that this will become essential for all of us. Like we are dealing with all kind of consumer durable products. Even if we are nowadays we are buying the vegetables, before entering into our kitchens, our mothers they are taking proper care that they should be properly sanitized. They are doing all the kind of thing. Similar kind of practices for each and every organization have to follow. Either we are dealing with a human resource or we are dealing with the products or we are dealing with the services, we have to be very, very particular as far as the quality management is concerned. So this is the some brief that the performance. So dimension is performance, then the features, conformance, reliability, durability, service, response, aesthetics, reputation. So aesthetics is also very important. So this is all about the total quality management. The first is performance. Primary product characteristics such as the brightness of the picture. Will the product do the intended job? Features. Secondary characteristic, that is added features such as remote control. This is all about the example that the performance is also when we are going to buy a one particular car, we will check all the feature, performance, feature, reliability, durability, service, response, aesthetic, reputation. Reputation is most important. That is the whether that product is the what kind of the reputation of that particular product or a company. Like a month back, uh, there was one review by the customer. The Kia, he purchased the Kia car, and they were uh, pathetically explained their experience about that car, and they are saying that nobody should buy this thing in the future. So we should all uh, nowadays, the customer reviews are there. Everything is available with us. We have with a lot of information, so we should be very, very particular about the quality management part. Either we are dealing with the products or dealing with the humans or the services, any kind of. Now, this is the thing. In this case, the picture depicts itself, the entire thing. I think that is visible to all. And one pay is in the top. They mention that as requested by the sales. then as analyzed by the marketing, then as designed by the engineer, as produced by the factory, as installed by the field engineer, and what the user really wants. So there is a gap. We should be very particular as far as the products are concerned or services are concerned. Nowadays, we are witnessing every kind because we are into the education, and every day we find that there are different kind of softwares are available. These are doing this kind of things. These are helping you in promoting your education or your admissions, and every kind of things are available. But we should be very particular that what is actually the requirement. So these are the spheres of the quality control, quality management, quality assurance. Now, new and old culture definitions. We have mentioned that earlier there was a product oriented. Now, after total quality management, this is a customer oriented. One more thing I want to explain here, that earlier there was also certain pandemics. In Punjab, we also witnessed various kind of pandemics in the earlier times. But I have read one article that was published by the Punjab University, Chandigarh. You mentioned that earlier the main target not to taken care of the citizens of the country. Everything is focused on the top level, like the kings. They are at that time they were at the top priority, but nowadays, why I'm discussing this thing, because we are discussing the total quality management, and we have mentioned that they're the customer oriented. Now if there is a pandemic, the major role of the our government is to protect the citizens of the nation. We are the priority of the nation. That is why they announced a lockdown. So that is the call. They are also doing the similar kind of practices. They are following. They are also doing total quality management. That how we can find the solution. So next is the priority. Second to service and the cost in total quality management. First among equals of the service and the cost. Decisions in case of earlier management, they're short term. Now we are dealing with the long term. Like there are certain theories of the economics also. One is we are dealing with the Say's law of market, and other is the Keynes theory. Keynes say that we believe in the short run because in the long run we are all dead. But nowadays we are also thinking like just, just now I am reading one article that what do the pandemics tells about us. They are mentioning that the there are different kind of pathogens that are arrived because of the animals, because we created a kind of imbalance. There is a deforestation. We created an imbalance in the biodiversity. So if we are not dealing with the situations, we will left for our we will leave certain kind of pandemics for our children and for our grandchildren. So that is also a total quality management. Why we are discussing these things. Next is emphasis. Earlier there was detection, now the prevention. We all are in the home because prevention is better than the cure. Then the errors, previous operations, now the system, responsibility, quality control, now the total quality management, the responsibility of everyone. Problem solving, manager, now the teams. Procurement, price, life cycle, cost, partnership, manager's role, plan, assign, control, and enforce. Now delegate, coach, facilitate, and mentor. Now, another part that is again an important part, that is the risk management. So, risk management is identify all the relevant risks, assess, rank those risks, address the risk in order of priority, monitor risk, and report on their management. Right? Or if we're taking about the case of the COVID in the early in the month of January or February, when our governments they came across with the such kind of situation, they analyzed the risk and made their decision at that time, the policy and the strategy that how we can deal with the situation. So risk is an uncertain event which may occur in the future. There is a risk that can occur in the future. A risk may prevent or delay the achievement of organization objectives and the goals. A risk is not certain; it is likelihood can be estimated. We can estimate only. So there is a cycle that we first confirm the strategy, then identify, then challenge and evaluate, then take action, then monitor and report, and then this is a cycle. So categories of risk, we might deal with the financial, that is poor budgeting, fraud, theft, reduction in funding, etc. The operational risk, failure of IT system, health and safety risk, etc. Then the reputational, organization engages in the activities that could threaten its good name. Governance and compliance, lack of oversight by the board, segregation of the duties not defined formally, etc. The strategic engages in the activity at variance with its stated objectives. Like we have thought, we have made a one strategy, but when we going to implement that, there is a variation. So these are the category. Now, another important thing is the risk management. Earlier, we discussed about the risk and now the crisis. Now, what is a crisis management? Crisis management is the application of strategies designed to help an organization deal with a sudden and significant negative event, like we are dealing with the COVID. Now, the most important part is the crisis management, how we can manage the crisis. In most of the cases, a crisis can affect health or safety, organization, finances, the organization reputation, or some combination of these. Nowadays, we are doing the crisis management. So there is what is basically a major difference. Risk management means looking for the ways to minimize the risk. Crisis management involves the figuring out the best way to respond when an incident does occur. As such, risk management is an important part of crisis management, but crisis management covers incident response, whereas the risk management usually does not. So, in the case of risk management, we can analyze that in future we may face these kind of the circumstances. But in case of that occurrence of the event, the thing is how to overcome these issues. Like nowadays, each and every organization, each and every household, each and every individual, each and every government, either the state or a center level, they are doing the crisis management. There are certain examples of the crisis management. The Samsung, we all know about the Samsung that they launched the Galaxy Note 7, and the company had to recall all the more than 3 million devices it had sold after the reports of overheating and exploding batteries. The batteries were exploded, the reports were there. Then how they responded. The company announced a global recall of around 2.5 million Galaxy Note 7 phones. They eventually discontinued the production and the sale of the device with a bold decision like this. Their action showed that, at the risk of immediate impact on the top line revenue, the company treated its consumers like precious entities and put them first. So they treated the consumers on the top priority. That is why we discussed the total quality management, in which we discussed now that the risk is there. They now during crisis, what they have done that they recalled all the phones. They know that that will cost much more for them, but even then, because they don't want to lose their reputation, because once a brand loses its reputation, that will not exist in the future. They know this thing very well. Then we all aware about the Nestle Maggie noodles. That also was in the crisis because there was a news in the social media that, or in every media that the high amount of the concentration of the lead in the masala they used. What they have done? They mentioned that through smart use of social media during the crisis, the brand limited further damage by reassuring and informing customers to encourage them to continue buying the noodles in the future. Maggie India Twitter account also made an impressive effort to respond to every tweet from the customers on this issue with a pre-prepared statement explaining that lead occurs naturally in the soil and the water. They already mentioned. And with this, by June 2016, Maggie noodles had climbed back to 57. They mean this is the crisis management. They actually managed the crisis. And we are now again used to that Maggie, and now the whenever we want to eat some noodles, we generally say that Maggie khani hai. So that is also build the brand. And in the last, I would also like to mention that there was a case of the Coca-Cola was also there that was reported that there was a pesticide that is available in the Coca-Cola. They also managed. Now we all know that on the label they mentioned that this amount of pesticide is there that is not harmful. They managed technically and scientifically these kind of things like Cadbury also witnessed a similar kind of a situation. There was reported the bombs were there, and they changed the entire technique of packing, and then they used Mr. Bachchan as their brand ambassador to come out from this kind of a crisis. So this is all about my presentation. In the last, I would like to say that we discussed about each and every scenario. But before handing over to the Dr. Daniel, I want to mention that we are all in the same situation. We have to deal with the situation. We have to learn with the living of such kind of a situation. There are so many ways we can handle the situations. So, on a positive note, I would like to shift my next part of presentation to Dr. Daniel, please. Thank you, audience, for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for a wonderful session you have presented us. I am Dr. Moses Daniel, the principal of Nehru College of Management, which belongs to Nehru Group of Institutions, educational conglomerate, serving the society for 52 years in this Coimbatore city. First of all, I would like to thank the Lord Almighty for sending us the corona that creates an opportunity for us to discuss through this webinar and online classes. I would like to thank Priyanka ma'am for utilizing the opportunity God has given to invite us to discuss with you all about a few topics that we have. I'm also thankful to our CEO sir, Dr. Krishna sir, who's a good supporter and encourager, who always encourages to participate in such events and who never hesitate to admit us. And so I thank him also. Coming to the point, Jasdeep ma'am has given a very good introduction about the management and the various attributes of management. I would like to continue the session with change management and leadership. Management on a whole is clearly defined by madam. And I would like to add one more point in that manager. Who is a manager? There is a big debate going on, like whether a manager is born or made. I would say manager is born. We all know from the childhood, the day you were born, you were able to do everything or get everything done by your mother. A general definition of manager was getting things done through others. So you were able to make your mom work for you with a cry, whether you are asking for a food or whether you have gotten, she has to attend to the nature's call, something like that. So as for me, manager is a bond. Right. Excuse me. Yes. So because of the network issue, it's getting delayed. Please bear with me. Yes. So management means directing and controlling a group of people or an organization to reach a goal. It's a general definition. I have given you the definition of a manager as well. Now, seeing the environment of management, we have 6 attributes we have for an organization: political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal. So, whatever be the things happening with organization that includes that taking part of all these 6 elements around it. So, coming to change management.
પ્રશાંત રાતના 12 વાગે આવે છે. આજે 10 વર્ષથી આ મેરેજ એનિવર્સરી ને 10 મિનિટ વહેલો આવ્યો.
Before going into the change management, I would like to explain what change is.
10 મિનિટ વહેલો આવ્યો અને પોતે છતાં એમ કહે છે કે હું આવ્યો.
A change is something now one from one form to another with a little. Excuse me, can you please put on mute, please? As an individual, take for example, now you have 2,000 rupees. How long you can keep it as a 2,000 rupees? So if you want to increase your livelihood or you want to make it usable, you have to make it into different smaller denomination is converted into smaller denominations that increases the livelihood of a person as an individual. We are not changing. Everything is a currency. Like that, now in your life also, you are all an individuals. You are an individual. But as per the need of the environment, we have to change our behavior, change our attitude, change our perception. So that is what a change is. If we are resistant to that, then we are losing our livelihoods. In an organization, if you just extend that to the higher level, we have the organization. For an example, I tell you, Nokia. Once Nokia was very famous in their mobile phones, as long as the button phones are concerned. They were leading the market. But once Samsung introduced the smartphone, they were not able to. And finally, they are also forced to change to smartphones so that they could gain up the market share. If you go into the national, we had to change a lot of times. Especially in 1991, we introduced the LPG, liberalization, privatization, and globalization. What happened? A lot of companies come in, but all those companies were with automated process. We were having only manual companies, manual industries. So we were forced to change to the technological era. And all our companies, especially in the automobile industry, we converted that as automated companies. So it gave us a credibility. We were able to produce a lot of cars and increase the market share. But this change, we had an adverse effect as well. The job losses increases. So always the change management. Change comes with positive and negative effects. But change is a collective and a group effort. So now coming to change management. Change management is a collective term for all approaches to prepare, support, and help individuals, teams, and organizations in making organizational change. So definitely it is not a one-man show. Whenever a change is identified, it has to go through a process to achieve the ultimate goal. One second. Sorry. I have a very bad network here. No, I'm on the outskirts of the city. So please bear with me. Now, when it is change management, we have to go with the principles of change management. First of all, no, we have to diagnose. That means you have to identify the problem. The problem is something no that incur in stopping the business. There is a saying that clearly identified problem itself is of the solution. Yes, it's true. When you identify problem, you have to clearly identify the problem. Now, where exactly we come across, so that no, if itself give you a clear idea on you're going to change. Identify step is to go how to culture to take in the same way. Say for example, no, we had this corona, this pandemic situation. We were trying to follow the other countries like this lockdown. We were announcing, no, the government has given enough announcement to the public to stay at home. But people were so in so many cases, in so many cities, the people were out. Why? Because the culture in the other countries is different. The culture in our country is different. So whatever the change that we have to take in should go with the culture. Here, our people are no, they are practiced to drive the police and go along, get along with the things that they need. Culture first. Then only we can take up to that. The third point, the third principle is start at the top. Whenever or whatever the change that we would like to bring in, we should go from the top. Say, for example, all of us are into some beliefs, some religion or something like that. So we have the church, we have the temple, we have the mosque. When we start to clean it, almost the government or anything is like that. The religious past, religious monuments give us the spiritual life, and the organizations give us the material life. we are getting from that. And so that is also equivalent to that. So if at all we want to clean the mosque or a church, are we going to start it from the bottom? So we have to clean from the top so that when we come down, everything will be clean. Like that. Whenever you want to make a change, organization comprises of 3 levels, top level, middle level, and lower level. So that has to come from the top level. Then involve every layer. Yes, the involvement of every individual is very important in making a change effect. Then coalition building. You have to bring in the coherence among the people. They have to come as a team. Then only it is clearly possible. Provide clear instruction. So it is the responsibility of the one who is bringing in change to give clear instruction on the various steps that we are going to follow to accomplish the change that we aimed for. Transparent communication. So hidden agenda will not work. So everything that we want to do step by step is to be communicated to the people. Clear instructions are to be communicated till the end where the effective implementation is happening. Training. After giving all this, we have to train the people for their effective implementation of the change. So, as the principles of change management says, a problem is to be clearly identified. It has to go along with the organizational culture. It has to start from the top, and it has to be implemented throughout the organization. The good teamwork, clearly given instructions are to be followed, and those instructions are to be communicated properly till the end of it, and proper training about the various changes is to be given to the all partakers so that the change will be effectively implemented in an organization. There are 7 R's included in change. The first one is now who raised the change request. The change request may come from any level. It need not be from the top level or in the middle level or in the lower level. It may come from the watchman even. What is the change? Who raised the change? And what is the importance that we can give to them? That is to be analyzed. That is to be very important. And the reason behind the change. Why we need a change. So as I told you, you had 2000 rupees. Why you need a change? So if you don't change that 2000 rupees, your livelihood is affected. Whatever the things that you want, you cannot purchase. So to make your livelihood worthwhile, useful, we need to change. So the reason why we are changing is very important. And then return required from the change. What will be the outcome of the change? The reason clearly says what is the reason. But when I do this change, whether the expected outcome will come or not, that has to be analyzed. Risks involved in the requested change. What are the risks involved? All of us know very well the demonetization that has happened. Fine, it is needed. But how many people are affected? That has to be considered. What are all the other risks involved in that? That has to be considered. Without analyzing all those risks, if we start implementing the change, that may bring in the adverse effects. As I told you, when we introduced the LPG, it's for a very good change. To be along with the technological improvements, we were to do that. We did that. But it ended up with a lot of job losses. In a labor-oriented country like this, slowly, step by step, we should have included or introduced that change. So that is a very important aspect. Then who is responsible for the create, test, and implement the change? The one who is going to make actually the change, who is in charge of doing that change. That is very important. So that person should have clear idea about how to go about that. He should be taught well. He should be trained well. He should analyze all the situations that is prevailing, because now he is going to create and implement among the mass. So he has to do the things we have seen in the previous slide. No, he has to follow all those things to the stage. He is the responsible. Whether it is going to be a failure or a success, that depends on his performance. And so the person who is responsible is very important. And the next one, sixth R is the resources required to deliver change. What are the resources involved? Of course, in an organization, when a change happens, almost everybody is involved. And all the resources like people, finance, technology, all these resources are to be considered whether that can accommodate the change that we require, that we raise. And until it is achieved, until all these resources are gathered or accumulated, we cannot implement the change that's required. And finally, the relationship. Today we have this, and tomorrow we are going to have a changed environment. What is the relationship between these two? Are we in the same line we are going to change, or we are changing the whole line? It is going to be an exclusive one or inclusive one. When it is, how it is going to change the other changes, other processes. So all these 7 R's are very important when we implement change. And change is of three types. We have developmental change, transitional change, and transformational change. What is a developmental change? It is into an individual. From the childhood, we come into the adolescent age, then come into the adults. Our brain capacities, our physical conditions, the strength, the height, weight, everything changes as it goes by, as the age goes by. This is called as a developmental change. When transitional change, no, it is totally from one type to another process. Like we had all the manual systems in every industry, but as the technology is developed, we had to change this total process into automation. As I told you in the beginning, when the LPG was introduced, the automobile industry was one among the 3 that got affected. So we had to allow all the foreign companies into India under globalization, under liberalization, and all the companies came in with automated process. So we had to completely change that into a process. So on Hindustan Motors, from the manual process, they have completely changed automated process. This is called as transitional change. And transformational change is a shift in one or two aspects of the business. Like you may change your strategy for the, successful of your business. Like say for example, no, marketing was done through people. Still we have all the marketing team, they do their market. But after the introduction of technology into business, now we are doing most of the businesses are doing their marketing through social media. So social media is one of the strategical change for their marketing aspects. So a shift in the business culture of an organization resulting from a change, the underlying strategy and process the organization has used in the past. This is called as transformation change. These are the three types of changes. So any change that we look at will be under any of these 3. So how to implement the change? So we have different different models to make it better and easily understandable app. Taken Levens change management. So in this we have 3 stages: unfreeze, change, and refreeze. Because everybody is in some all of us they change. Say for all our people, no, even if they put heavy instruction that they should wear the helmet, people without the helmet. Why? Because they are practiced. There are some people, no, who are taking bribe and allowing it. They know somebody, they can tell and go away from the place. So like that, they're all into some process. They know they are used to. So first of all, now we have to remove that from. So what is there in the brain? What is practice has to be released. We have to manage. So we lot of first release. So we have instances like fine me fine. Example, no, if you because experience everybody hate to even at night 12 o'clock. The color is red. The people cannot cross there. Cross. Fine is given without is being punished. No punish. They are least bothered about because the practice. So first have all the rules they are making. Change all have accepted the change. Stored that mind. Then we have to rephrase. That is the third stage where we have to make it as a permanent one, a mandatory one. So these three stages are very important in the change. Unfreeze the people from their earlier and stored practices, implement the change, introduce the change into the people, which has to be followed, which is good for the livelihood or the benefit of the organization and the society whole, and then refreeze the change. The change has to be mandated, forcibly, or actively implemented, stored in mind. Now, when we do that, will it be accepted by all? Is a $1,000,000 question. So, especially in a country like this, it's very hard. Where even if the individual we have a lot of thinking, but how do we really change? Very because that somebody may not have in implementing change. A resistance to change is the action taken by individuals and groups when they perceive that a change that is occurring is a threat to them. The reasons may be enormous. What is given is image, prestige, reputation, and threat to the comfort. Yes, of course. When you bring in a change, it may not be. So it may not be accepted by all. Just raise up a question from as the figure 1 says. Who wants a change? Everyone wants a change. Everyone wants a change, and everyone want to be treated equal. Everyone want to have the comforts. Everyone want to enjoy the benefits? Yes, everyone's hand raises. But who wants to change? Every individual run off from it. Yes, I want the change, but I cannot change. So there is a saying, the charity begins at home. Yes, if we are expecting a change, that has to start from the individuals. Your image, your prestige, somewhere we have to compromise to accept the change. If the change is accepted by all. Now, how the global management is practicing in introducing the change. First of all, we have to educate the change agents. Who are the change agents who are going to be directly involved into the change process? So they have to be educated. Why we have seen all the reasons and the process and everything. That has to be followed to educate these change agents. They should clearly understand what is the necessity of the change, how it is going to benefit the individual, benefit the organization, benefit the society and the nation. So they have to be convinced first. There will be a lot of there will be a lot of agitations. There will be a lot of resistance. But we have to block all those things and make the people understand who are going to transfer that to the mass. So go educate them. Then the professors who are able with the challenges. So what are the challenges they are going to face when we implement a change in the total? So that has to be taught. And whenever you go into a process, there will be a column called frequently asked questions. How they prepare with the previous experiences. What are the resistances that has come? So if that comes, how to face that. That has to be educated to the professionals. And finally, to develop a goal-oriented solutions for a sustainability transmission. So we have to find a solutions following when they implement the changes. If you see the Cotter's slang as suggests, education and communication is very important. See, whenever make you change, the literate countries where the literacy rate is high, even in India, you can see anything that changes not is easily implemented in Kerala. I'm really proud of that. Kerala is with a higher literacy rate. They easily understand and accept the changes. Then participation and involvement. Of course, there will be agitations or resistance from the people. As them, pull them into the process and make them involved in it. They will understand what it is. Even the students know we have very good experience. When we organize programs, they are not interested to participate. But when we involve them, that is what we are doing now. Every activity is, we are allocating students and we are giving the in charge to perform. So that comes as a hands-on experience and the involvement is very much improved. And they are very easily participate and do the things. Then facilitation and support. When we make changes, there will be a lot of requirements. People may not be clear with what to do next. And so all these facilitations, the requirements have to be fulfilled and supported. Of course, that may consume a lot, but that has to be fair. So they have to spend on it. Then manipulation and co-option. So wherever there is need for a little change or adjustments, that has to be done to make the change happen. And negotiation and bargaining. There will be compromises. People will have to compromise. All those compromises have to be negotiated and bargained and explicit options. All have to be met with. Everything has to be a teamwork and everything has to be done properly. So that is the best way to implement a change. Over a rule or over a stringent action, we cannot make the change happen. Because all the changes that happens in an organization involves several people. So that is how the change management happens, and the changes happen in every organization, and the process ought to be forward. As I said, I've explained a very simple process with the Levens model: unfreeze, change, and refreeze. But there are five step model, 7-step model. Everything is available in the net that you can go in the net and see. Now, for these changes, we need to learn a little about the leadership and management as well. So, leadership is the art of motivating a group of people to act toward achieving a common goal. In a business setting, this can mean directing the workers and colleagues with a strategy to meet the company's needs. We have a very good example. Mr. Gandhi, our father of nation, was a very good leader. But the tool he has taken was non-violence. So that is why most of the people know they love him. He directed our achievement. I mean, our aim was to get the freedom. So he directed all the people towards that. But the best strategy he followed was non-violence. And that is why people loved and called him Bapu. Right? He was a very lovable person only because of that non-violent leadership style. And if you take Hitler, he was also a good leader, but his method was violent. That is why now, when we see today a leadership style, we take Gandhi as a positive example, Hitler as a negative example. So there are ways we are how we are directing the people towards achievement of goal. Really, leadership style talks a lot about a simple video I'd like to present now. Please.
Um, there are some questions from the live audience that is coming to us. I will just share some of the questions with you. What would be the post-COVID change in management implementation?
Ma'am, ma'am,
Dr. Jasdeep, ma'am, will you address this question?
Yeah, then the question is that what would be the post?
Post-COVID change in management implementation.
Yeah, there we are already discussing about this thing that there might be a changes in the human resources, might be a changes in the service, might be changes like already discussed that even if we are talking about, for example, we are taking the case of the restaurant.
hello.
We are all aware about the fact that that this pandemic, this COVID-19, is just a kind of the disease that can be easily
Thambi.
transferred from one person to the another person.
What?
So right now, if I am a manager in the restaurant and I have to be follow certain things that there should be proper sanitization, how I can attract the customers, because I know that being a family, I will not allow my kid also, my son also, even my family members do not eat outside. We have to manage. So this is the question of the crisis management, that how I could come out from this kind of a situation. What are the protocols? Like for the human resource, I have to be defined. Like in my office, I have to define what are the new protocols that we should follow. Like if we are talking, we are all the teachers, and what is the sitting arrangement for these teachers? Like nowadays, we are getting certain articles about that. What are the sitting plans for the students? I mean, if they are coming to the colleges or the schools, there should be, because the protocol that there should be a social distancing. So we have to follow certain norm. There should be definitely a changes that will depend upon the norms and the guidelines that we have to follow. So there are definitely changes, either on the consumer's point of view, either from the manager point of view, either from, we have to take the certain decisions according to the situations.
There's another question: how management differ from leadership?
Uh, that I can answer, sir.
Both of you, ma'am, you both of your perspective will share with the audience. That might be easy for
Okay.
all of them.
Okay. So
Ma'am, I couldn't complete the presentation, ma'am. The last two slides now were missed. But that video was not coming, ma'am. Hello,
hello.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
hello.
Actually, we can say that there is a definitely a difference between the management and the leadership. So management is more about the administrating and making day-to-day activities like the planning, controlling, organizing. And the leadership means that we have the quality to lead. That means there is always a difference between the leaders. Leaders have people that follow them, and managers have people who simply work for them. There is definitely a difference. Manager give direction only. Leader can ask a question. Like the
Yep.
sir already given the example of the Gandhiji. Gandhiji is a leader. We are following. We were, when people at that time were followed Gandhiji for the freedom for the country. So there is definitely a difference between the leadership and the management. You can ask, we can ask this thing from the sir also, because sir given the example of Gandhiji.
Yeah. As you said clearly, ma'am, the manager stands anywhere in the process. He is to manage the situation, whereas the leader is to lead. He will be in the front of any activity. So there is a very good no. See, manager is among the people. No? He is among the people. He has to manage the situations at any point of time, at any level. But whereas leader has to lead the whole mass. So in whatever the direction he shows, the people will blindly follow. So the decision making power and the analytical capacity is high with the leader. So he has to lead in a very proper channel, that then only he can achieve the aim or the goal that he started it. Otherwise, no, he will break up. So he has to very determined personality with a very quick analytical capacity and a quick decision making.
Yeah, sir, you want to add something in your information also. So please continue. It might be some
Yes.
network issues from your end. So please continue it.
Shall I continue that, ma'am?
Yes, yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Well, now I have to again share my presentation. Then only, right? One second. Actually, the ma'am's thing is there.
Ma'am, there is one more question. Uh, s- um,
Mhm.
management means opportunity in real sense.
Mhm. Uh, Ma'am, your voice is also not audible.
Okay. Now I'm audible, ma'am.
Yeah, now this
Yeah.
you are audible.
There's a question from the audience that management means opportunity management in real sense.
Hmm. Management means opportunity management. For example, if we're discussing about that there is a customer relationship management benefits are there, we are taking certain, when the risk is there, we have to manage the crisis. Like there is the opportunity. Like if we are talking about the situation right now we are facing, that the situation is of the pandemic, but even then we are there are certain opportunities like we have to think uh, that what are the right now what are the opportunities we can work on, that how we can handle the situation, that right now I'm discussing about that we have to be very specific as far as our environments are concerned, biodiversities are concerned. We have to be, when there is an opportunity, that how we can deal with the situation. So the opportunity management is a real sense that the person who we can manage, like we are managing the situations nowadays because of the COVID. It is the social distancing is the norm, and we are following, and we are even then we are finding the opportunities to deal with the situation. This is my viewpoint.
There is one more question from the audience. A very concept of management is going to be changed after that COVID scenario. The
Uh-huh.
post-COVID scenario, is the management get changed in some sort?
Yes, yes, ma'am. I already discussed when earlier also. The same question was there. I answered that question. That definitely there is a change because of the protocols. That is why we are mentioning new normal. Wait, what we are thinking, what we were doing in the past, that is not normal. We have to change the all the protocols for the business also, for all the for the human resources also, for the capital also, for the every kind of a business, every kind of a service. There is a need of redefining, and there is a definitely a change. Like already I earlier said that I am currently working as a director in the one particular college, and being a director, this is my responsibility. Being a leader or an administrator, this is my responsibility to take care of the personal health of the all the teachers, all the staff working over there. I have to define certain protocols for them. Like earlier, there was the concept of the biometric machines are there. Now we are trying that we should not use these kind of machines for some one particular time period, because that this disease is from the touch contact and that can be easily transferred. So we have to follow certain protocols. We have to find out the new ways that, or we have to be like earlier we used to take the attendance on the registers or whatever the protocols. We have to be redefined that a person should be present in his or her cubicle only. We are not allowing them to sit together because this is the need of the hour. So that is why we, for like already discussed that yesterday, I saw the advertisement on the television about the Domino's. They depict that they are using the hand sanitizer. The employees are using hand sanitizer. They are doing proper sanitization. They don't touch, and the food is proper hygienic. So this there is definitely a change.
Yeah. Some from the
And
audience.
with
Yeah.
And ma'am, I would like to one more thing about that. That there should be a new kind of businesses that may emerge. Like earlier, the sanitizer was not
Hello.
used frequently. People think that the use of sanitizer mean that
Hello.
we are showing off or we are doing some kind. But now that nowadays this is a necessity. There is a change in the
आपसे रिकॉर्डिंग
necessity,
करी थी
luxury,
ना
and the
सर.
comfort every time. Now, earlier this was not a necessity, but nowadays this was a necessity. Wearing a mask,
No,
different
no,
kind of a
no. I
business
think
every day. We
so. You are the
find
part of
a
the
new,
group. You have
different
to
kind of a
touch the
mask.
plate.
The companies are promoting their brands
After
with
touch
the
plate,
mask.
I can
So
unlock the
this is the
meter
thing.
get again connected. Yeah. There is one more key. You have to more focus on the multidisciplinary nature of the
Ma'am,
management.
anything
Yeah, there is an
else?
yes. People wants to know you have to focus more, a little more focus on the multidisciplinary nature of the management. Ma'am?
Hanji, Hanji, ma'am.
Yeah. People wants you have to more little focus on the multidisciplinary nature of the management.
Multidisciplinary nature of the management is applicable everywhere. Multidisciplinary. If I am saying that earlier there was we must say that economics. Earlier economics was a part of political science. Then there is a need in the 17th century. Adam Smith defined the economics as a totally different subject. And then after the some particular time, the another subject emerged from the economics, that is the commerce. And then there's after some particular time, there's a need and emergence of one new subject we call the management. So management is multidisciplinary. When we are dealing with each and every kind of a situation. Although this is a psychology, although this is because in the beginning only I discussed about that this is a social science and this is based on the psychology. Earlier, when we are doing with the finance kind of a thing, no, when we are, I'm just talking about the case of 2000 to 2003 when we were used to giving the students to the projects of the finance, na, they generally think finance means analysis of the risk, uncertainty, and a huge amount of the data is required. The finance is all to do with the stock markets and etc. But nowadays, we all witness that there is a behavioral finance is there. Earlier, people were used to think that they are doing this finance. The people are researching on the psychology that this is not the finance. But right now, the behavioral finance is also very important. If we know the behavior of the investors, only then the companies can go further. And this is the situation, like I already told that this is the actually economics is the mother subject, and from that the different branches emerged. Management is dealing with, although the management is required in the hospitals, management is required in the hotel also. Management is required in the business also. Management is required in the tourism industry also. Management is required even in the like in the government also. I have read once that the Punjab in case of the Punjab, the Punjab and Haryana High Court they are trying to hire the managers so that they can cope up with the pending cases that they are affiliated with, they are going to affiliate them with the judges that how they can manage the pending cases, what is the scenario. So for every kind of a discipline, we can say discipline or every kind of a sphere in the life we require management.
There
Crisis
is
management. One, yes, ma'am.
yeah, there is in one more question from the audience that management concepts are emerged from the psychology.
Hmm. Yes. Like I already discussed that the consumer behavior, finance behavior, everything in we are dealing with the social sciences. Everything is the psychology. Like if we are saying that people prefer Pepsi over Coke, that is the psychology. Some people prefer Coke, some people prefer Pepsi. That is the psychology. There are perceptions are there. If the perceptions are there, only then we are trying to find out what are the minds in the what are the actually in the minds of the customers or the consumers, what they are ready to buy. When the paper boat launched the different drinks, remember that we can recall that ad. They are dealing with our psychology, that the mind, that they are telling us in our childhood we used to like the ampana, we used to like in this different kind of when they are depicting that old days. Like nowadays we all know that at the DD retro, the channel, the DD was there when we were in the childhood. There was a Ramayan was there, Mahabharat was there. We were fond of those serials. Everybody, although I belong to a Sikh religion or I belong to Hindu religion or any religion, but we used to fond of that particular serial. Nowadays, we are finding that the at the DD Retro, they again started the Ramayana and the Mahabharat, and you know that the TRP is for the Ramayana and the Mahabharat and the DD Retro. Like they have started the Bunyad also. Why? Because we all are, they know that the psychology of the human being. Now we are all together in the family, and as a family we are like to watch those TV shows that can be easily affordable for all of us, including our parents, our children, so that we can enjoy entire family at the same particular time. And for this, now the Star TV, they have also taken the rights of the Ramayana. Why they are doing this thing? They know that the viewership is transferred from their channels to the other channels. So this is all about the psychology also. And the companies, everything is based on the psychology. If the social science is not there, then how the science can do the experiments? If the pandemic is there and they are finding what are the reasons, that is the social science help them that what these are maybe the reasons for these kind of pandemics. So this is all.
Yeah, Dr. Daniel also joined us again. Might be some network issues there. I just hand over the screen to you, sir. So you just continue. Ma'am, there is one. Jazeep, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes, yeah,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, there is one more question that
Mhm.
research can be used application of AI to understand human behavior in organizations.
Uh, can you repeat, please?
Yes, I can. Um,
Uh-huh.
Research can be used applications of AI to understand human behavior in organization. So you can also address this question.
Actually, the human when they want the answer that whether the
Yeah, artificial
art,
intelligence.
can be
Artificial intelligence to understand
Mhm.
human behavior in organization?
Like, we can use the artificial intelligence also, but that also requires certain kind of algorithms. And we can provide the algorithms like the artificial intelligence is that now we have to be programmed about that. No, definitely we can work on it, and I think the already work is going on in this scenario also, because nowadays artificial intelligence plays very important role. I have read that the Amazon people, they are trying to work it on that what if there is something like we are taking the example of the refrigerator, and we kept the eggs in the refrigerator, and when they are working in some kind of a technology that when they find that now there are only one or two eggs left, then they automatically the refrigerator, the system will be there that automatically place the order to the Amazon that now they have to buy this. So similar kind of practices, they are also being, I think we can work on it, or already work is going on that, because I am not from the human resource specialization, but definitely we can work on this, that the artificial intelligence can be used in analyzing the human behavior. That is again the psychology, that how the employee react, what is the employee engagement, whether, because there are certain scales are already available with us. We can program those scales, and we can easily utilize artificial intelligence in the research.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
And Priyanka ma'am, anything else?
No, ma'am. All the questions are addressed right now. So I think Dr. Daniel want to add something, but might be some network issues there from our.
Yeah, there. Yeah, I know. I think so.
Yeah. So can we end this right now, or sir, Daniel, sir, you want to add something?
Also can be created very easily if we go through the various stages. They have to be very. The only thing is they have to be very courageous. There may be a lot of if and buts coming in one way. They have to be very courageous in facing all those as challenges instead of hurdles. They have to see that as a challenge to make yourself a better leader and a better achiever. So that is what was there in the final slide. Now, am I reaching you, ma'am, clearly?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello?
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, sir.
Yeah. So, fine. Finally, the final thing I wanted to add to the people is I had three requests. So one is at the individual level to all the students. So today the students' attitude is so bad. No, we need a change in that. Means people are taking things very easy, especially in the South India. If you see, students' attendance is too low because they have a very lethargic and a very easy going type of attitude, which is not better because now they are finding it very tough when they go into the career ladder. They are not able to face the interviews. They have failed a lot, and that gets rejected. See, one advertisement recently comes, yes, MPL, some game. In the advertisement itself, he says, "No, I'm earning 40,000 rupees per month, whereas I'm an engineering graduate. I didn't get a job for." So that's a very bad attitude. Everyone cannot get a good return from a game which is developed by somebody else. We are losing something. Your career is very important. And so the students have to change a lot in their attitude and give importance for their career development. And without getting a knowledge, definitely they cannot improve their competitiveness. And so that change I wanted to request all the students to And then the second change I wanted is the different class of people. Now, we have different aids or measures taken to improve all together to come up, especially the quota systems. We know well that is all there. That is to improve the standards. But today, people are taking it for granted that if we take 35 percentage, 40 percentage, that's enough. So that is only for that they are putting the efforts. So the provisions are given to improve them, but not to limit their capacities or the efforts. So there we need a change. The society have to think that the provisions are given for us to climb up the ladder, and so we have to put our maximum efforts and get better, so that everybody will have a thinking capacity and a high caliber, which is good for the nation itself. So we are very proudly saying that India is the youngest population in 2020. Yes, that is an advantage only if all the youngsters understand them and put their proper efforts and serve to the society or contribute to the society. Otherwise, this itself will become a threat to the nation. It will affect the economy, it will affect the growth, it will affect the developments. And so that request I'm keeping or giving to the society. And my final request is to all the citizens of India, as we are educated, it is our profound duty to educate the others as well, to exercise their rights in the elections. So far, no, we have only maximum 50 or 60 percentage of voting rights have been established. But that is wrong. So now, as I told you in the presentation itself, if we want to clean a system, we have to clean from the top. So if you want to clean from the top should be good and efficient. So once in a while, once in 5 years, we all have the instrument or the chance to select our top leaders. And so all have to exercise that as a duty. And if they do that, definitely India will be a very better country and a very good country, efficient country. We have good leaders. We have good leaders. I'm not saying that, but I mean, this responsibility of the citizens have to be exercised completely, so that we will have a very good change in the nation building. So these are the 3 points I wanted to tell them. Maybe there will be a lot of resistance, a lot of unacceptance, but it's my idea and it's my thought process. So I have shared with all my people. But so many educated, literate, highly literate people are listening to this. Everybody, if they think individually and act accordingly, definitely India will have a very good change towards the positive direction. I wish all the participants very good success in their life.
Yeah, there's one more
Thank you.
question from the audience.
Yes,
Change can be made or create. How will it will work in the public?
change is dependent on the requirement. Say for as I am given them a very good example. Nokia is a very good mobile provider. He had different successful models, but when smartphone came into picture from Samsung, Nokia couldn't survive. So always the change is a force. It is created by ourselves or by the environment or by the world at large. Change is inevitable. Change is the only constant in the world. We have a lot of developments. Every development, every new ideas will bring in a change. So change is created. Definitely change is created by innovations or something or needs. So change is created.
Uh, Thank you for addressing this question, sir. There is one more thing that people wants to know from your end. Can we speak management as a real outcome of new world social order in post-COVID scenario, sir?
Manager is, ma'am, what is the question, ma'am?
Management as a real outcome of new world social order in post COVID?
So actually, post-COVID will be going to be a very different scenario. Because now, so far, it is different. Now, people were accustomed to live without anything. Especially if you take IT industry, now every company was running with online uh, work, right? Work from home concept. So now the IT industry will think whether they need a workspace or not. Already we have virtual offices. So now definitely that will change the management perspective after COVID-19. After the lockdown is over, we will have a lot of changes. Every management, even in the teaching area, fraternity, we are all having regular classes through online courses, right? But definitely that cannot equate a classroom session. Definitely it cannot equate a classroom session. So there are certain areas where this COVID-19, after this pro-COVID-19 will affect, but there are certain areas where it will not affect at all. It has to go as usual as before. This can be taken as a leave one, right? Even manufacturing industries, they couldn't do anything after, during this lockdown period. So after this, definitely they have to increase their production level to meet out their targets. And so management perspective will have a change depending on the field or the area of operations. Definitely it will have a change.
Some people wants to know about that industry 4.0 in terms of human resource management.
Industry 4.0 in the human resource, ma'am.
Yeah.
I have no idea about that industry 4.0. It's a HR aspect. Maybe the online only it will come, I think. Just Jasdeep ma'am can help here.
Yeah, sir, I'm trying to, because there are different models they are working on. Like EHRM is there, we are talking about. This is a similar kind of thing. If industry 4.0 are working in the same way, in the same pattern, this is industry 4.0 HRM practices would be there. They are trying to manage the human resources through automated resources like we have here also we have some online systems are there. We have to apply the leave that is online, and if we have to follow certain we have to give the reports that is also online. Everything is automated. There's no need to go anywhere. You just have to click and fill the reports and send, and there are certain analytical tools that help in finding out the employee performance. Is there what kind of the performances of the employee? There are certain parameters we are using. I mean, the HRM also can use artificial intelligence, like already I discussed about. In the similar way, the Industry 4.0, that is the similar to the with the HRM, because earlier there was the concept was started with the green HRM and then the EHRM. The major motive of these kind of now the artificial intelligence and data analytics, they are all involved that we can find out the performance of the employees with the automation system. There's no need to fill the reports. Everything we have to just enter the data and the softwares or whatever the tools we have available with us, we can find out the situation. So this might be. Basically, the automation part is there.
Yeah. Thank you to all the
and optimize.
audience and speakers, Dr. Daniel sir, Dr. Jasdeep ma'am, for such a very informative
Yes,
and
ma'am.
a successful session that we have. So,
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. We hope that we are able to answer because we are also human beings, and I always say that there should be always a trade-off. Something we may know, something we may not. We even
Thank you,
yeah
ma'am.
we
Thank you
are.
so much.
Everything is based on the psychology. According to me, something is correct. According to some other person, that might not be correct. So we all in. So this is the thing.
yeah, there might some network issues are there. People are not
Yeah,
able to
that is
hear
a
us, but the thing is, it's very informative, and I would really thank you to both of you for giving your time and information and your expertise to share with the audience.
All are learners only,
yeah.
ma'am.
Every day we are learning, and
Everywhere
from this session we are
we are.
also learned so many things.
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Daniel. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, audience.
Thank you
Yeah,
for the opportunity, ma'am.
yeah,
Thank you. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
yeah. The quiz link is available on the website of International Journal of Advanced Study and
Yeah, we have
Research Work.
learned a lot. Learned a lot, ma'am. Great. Thank you. Thank you